everyone. I'm Anna from Polkadot Insider, and I'm so happy to be here and a co-host at a community call with OpenGuild and DDot.
Everyone, I think we're gonna wait for around like 5 minutes. So like more community member are gonna join, and then we're gonna get started. It's a five
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, that's great. Yeah.
everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, sir.
Okay. Hey guys, as usual, we have a link for like claiming the XP from like participating in the community call. So like if this is your first time coming to the community, so like I just like introduce a bit about OpenGuild. So like we have this like the membership XP system, and like climbing the XP gonna help you to climbing up on the like on the community. So like just click the link that I sent in the in the chat section, and then just enter following the guideline, and then you're gonna claim the XP. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay, I think we should start now because it's already at 10 minutes from our official
Yeah,
time. All
yeah,
right.
I think people are getting in. Yeah, let's just start the introduction first while waiting for them. Yeah, let's set some fire to the stage first. Yeah. So, hello everyone. How are you today? Yeah, I hope all things goes well with you today. And I'm Anna from Polkadot Insider, and it's a pleasure for me to be here with OpenGuild and Dedot to host the community call. And our topic today will be how does application work in the decentralized network? Yeah. And I'm so thrilled to have two distinguished speakers with us today. Mr. Tin Chung, the developer relation engineer at OpenGuild, and Mr. Thang Fu, the creator of DDot. And an interesting fact is they are both graduates from Polkadot Blockchain Academy. That's why I promise we're gonna have a lot of valuable insights into the world of decentralized networks. And yeah, so yeah, I think the speakers here, the audience here, so let's get right into it. Yeah. So today we gonna dive deeper into vertical scaling, the architecture of decentralized applications, and the significance of client libraries in the DApps ecosystem. All right, so for our first topic, we're gonna start with the challenges associated with vertical scaling and also the current solutions in place to address these issues. So what do you think about this, sir?
Sorry, what's the question? Can you repeat?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So talking about vertical scaling, yeah. So what do you think is the challenges, the difficulties with vertical scaling, and what solutions that come into your mind to to solve these problems?
Yeah, I think like vertical scaling is not bad. Like I think like for every information system, like information technology system, like vertical scaling is like one of like the standard, also like best technique for you to scaling something, scaling your system into like a next level, so like you can serve more user. Um, but on the other hand, like vertical scaling have many downside, like you have like the limited number of resources, and so like resources here like monetary resources are electricity kind of things, to support all the global users over the world. So yeah, and like some solution that we can I think like I gonna get started with the slide, because like we also like mentioned a lot of those stuff in the slide as well. First, like, I introduce a bit like, about OpenGuild, and also like for anyone like who don't know about OpenGuild yet. So like OpenGuild is the Web3 hub for like Polkadot enthusiasts in Southeast Asia. And if this is your first time coming to OpenGuild, OpenGuild is the representative of Polkadot in the Southeast in the C market. And the reason why we have something for like OpenGuild is because like Polkadot like is mainly focused on European country, and on the other and by that way, like to serve more people who interested in Polkadot and onboard more developer who want to build using this technology. OpenGuild will be the contact point, to onboard on Polkadot easily. So in Polkadot, like we do a lot of stuff like event, resource and yeah, like there will be more resources. And if you want to learn more about OpenGuild and you haven't found those resources yet, so like just input something in the chat box, and then we're gonna give you the resources. Introduce a bit about myself. So my name is Tin Chung, and nice to see you guys again in the global community call. And I think like this is already like the 16th community call. Okay. And I'm a BBA Wave 5 graduate in Singapore. I'm a Polkadot SDK contributor, OpenGuild dev lead, and also like I'm a restriction, and I'm really proud to be a restriction. Okay. A little bit about our special guest today is our Mr. Vũ. And he's also my lunch mate, and he's also like BPA V5 graduate. He's a Polkadot Vietnam Hackathon 2023 winner, and also like the creator of Dedot. And if you don't know about Dedot, so stay tuned, and because like this today, like community section, I'm gonna give you like the introduction about Dedot, and also like I think this a great innovation for the Polkadot ecosystem.
Yeah, that's very interesting to know more. What's your perspective about vertical scaling, and also a little bit more about your background, and also Mr. Thang's background. It's very interesting to know. Yeah. So for the second topic, we're gonna talk about the architecture of decentralized application. So can you share more about how decentralized application structure and the benefits they offer to the community?
Okay. Yeah, like we're getting there. So yeah, like to start this section, like to start the presentation like usual. I think like the format today is a bit like it's different, but yeah, like to start is in a monetary way. So if like now just don't think about anything about like the app or decentralized application or any kind of like vertical scaling yet. First, like we're gonna try to give you guys like some context. So let's imagine like who you are. Now we try to act as a non-Web3 developers engineer. I guess I like, for example, like web developers who mainly like work on the traditional backend server. And I think like 80% of the software engineer are out there, like we working on technology like that. What do we work for? What do we work with? Sorry. So we mainly work with web and the mobile application. So software like is there's a wide variety of like different type of software. Like firmware and so on, one kind of software. But we don't want to talk about that. We just want to talk about like web and mobile application. So let's remember that. Why we here? We want to learning about like how does the decentralized application work, and decentralized application with the context web and mobile application. Yeah. Why are we working with daily? So if you guys okay. Right, I think most of the developer, most of the engineer already familiar with this architecture. So every application right now, like we have a very basic architecture like front end, back end, and front end, back end database, which is apply for like all the application right now. Even like for example like Discord, the application that we're using right now is still like front end, back end, and database, like on a different scale. And the flow of this basic architecture is basically like user visit the application first. The computer right here is our entry point of the application, right? They visit the application, and what they see first is like the front end, and where it serve all the interfaces and display the result returned from the backend. And what's the backend? Backend is like backends in the server that serve the main logic of the application, and it carry the data from the database. Database is where all the data is stored. All kind of management related to the data will be handled there. So very basic, right? And the problem with this architecture, so let's say we give the context that our database have the limit of like 500 megabytes. It is served up to like 200 user. Now we just a very basic application like an indie hack application. we serve like 200 user, right? And then like our CPU, our hardware, like it serve 4 second execution time because it have like 4 GB RAM and also like 4 CPU core. So what if like we have like 100 of user and we want you to serve more? So the solution for that is vertical scaling, and we already mentioned it at the beginning of the community call. So we scale up our database now from 500 megabytes to 5 GB database, and we serve up to like 2,000 user. Then like our hardware now is become like 8 GB RAM with like 16 CPU core, and it serve up to like reduce the number of execution time down to 2 seconds. Okay, so how about a few thousand, and how about few million and billions? And it's super crazy because like now like you don't have like that kind of like we just have a limited resources to support to serve on these, and it's really hard to just scaling up our hardware to serve more and more users. So the problem with vertical scaling, the process is like it's easy to build and maintain. For like startup application, like it's really easy to build a front-end backend database, and then you have the application. But the con is like hardware cannot scale as fast as the growth of the software user. Single point failure depend heavily on one database and one server. So let's say like if you only like have one 5 GB database, or even like 500 GB database, and this database already just port out one connection. So if like the connection to the database is queued, so like the whole your whole application gonna be down, and it's really bad, right? And it's a fully centralized application because like our server also centralized. We have we rely on the on-premise server, and then like our database also centralized. Yeah, and then like even our front end, and it's not resilient, not unstoppable, and not scalable. And we're gonna discover more about like each attribute later in the later sections of this presentation. So there's existing solution out there. In this presentation, I don't want to try to come up with something new, and I want to try to say that okay, so this one is bad, this one is good. It's just it's just a trade-off, and there are existing solution out there, and like many like enterprise application already apply. For example, like Facebook Discord have like a very large scale and complex distributed system. So the solution can be like distributed backend server, multi-thread, sorted database hosted on cloud kind of things. And but what those kind of modern IT system cannot solve. Um, but it's stoppable. It's still stoppable. It's still single point failure somehow. It's still centralized. And the key the decentralized application bring to the world today is the unstoppable attribute, resilient, and decentralized. And blockchain. So blockchain solve all the problem of both. So this is quite like a selling statement from like the blockchain community to the developer out there. But yeah, so like it brings some attribute to the world that can help solve some problem that we already define. And it allows us to replace the central server operator with a P2P network and consensus system. So basic stuff about blockchain. The thing is about blockchain is like any data, any record of data being added to the ledger, to the distributed ledger, cannot be changed. It's immutable. So the data there is already there, and the data is secure by a very complex distributed system below, which is constructed by the B2B network, and is coming up with a consensus freedom. Always keep the data transparent, and also like it cannot be changed, and it's like the correctness of the data is already is always perfect. So the decentralized application architecture, I'm gonna give like a very basic definition on the DApp first. So DApp basically is an application built on top of blockchain. So the blockchain is, for example, like in this case we have Ethereum, and Ethereum is have a virtual machine. for like Ethereum virtual machine or EVM. And for the application, before like we have like front end, back end, server, right? And if you remember that, so now like it's different a bit because like user visit the application, also visit the application. Sorry, I think like the paragraph here like it hasn't changed yet, but yeah, like this user visit the application, but now like the application also require another step for the interaction with the wallet, which is like for example MetaMask, which is a very I think like the most popular wallet out there. And then like we have the client library, which is a middleware to communicate with the blockchain, and the client library is important. And MetaMask client library is communicate with the smart contract deployed on blockchain, where the smart contract store. So for example, like we have the blockchain, right? And on top of the blockchain, we have the Ethereum virtual machine. But then you have a contract, you like compile it into the binary and you deploy it on the blockchain. So it stay there. And we already learned that any data on the blockchain is immutable and it cannot, be, dragged out and then destroy it. So like this our smart contract already there. So that is, basic architecture of the DApp. So what the blockchain architecture replace some stuff in Web 2. Not like replace, it's still basically like it's the same. But it's just different term, different concept. So like in the database, instead of having a database, we have a blockchain as a global database for every kind of services built on top of the blockchain gonna share same data in a distributed ledger backend server. So gonna be replaced with the node service at the runtime. Backend API basically it's replaced with a domain specific language, which is a smart contract. So instead of like writing the API in the backend server and then like you write like API route, like using some like RPC protocol, like REST API, and then you define the logic for using the protocol. Now you just define the logic in your smart contract, and then like you deploy your smart contract on top of the blockchain, and you use a client to query the data back from the blockchain, and then let's serve it to the user. So on the front end, as I mentioned, the front end now gonna have require another middleman, another middleware, which is the Web2 wallet and also the client library. So in the Web2 we have the client API service as the Web2 service, and then like but in the Web3 we have a standardized client library. Why I say it's standardized? So instead of like every company in instead of like every company in the Web2 field, they have to write the old stuff. Um, depend on like the type of logic and on like the type of design. Now we just share one kind of client library, which is for example like Dedot, and then like you just apply to our application and then build and then serve it to the user. A little bit about the architecture of the blockchain. So now we have like distributed node network, and just imagine like these distributed node are a group of computers, and then like on top of this group of computer, like I say, it's also a B2B network. On top of it, there's gonna be like a shared database across node, which is a shared ledger or our blockchain serve as the database. Now here like also like have a front end, back end, like libraries. On the back end, we have like node, share ledger, and the virtual machine, the smart contract. Smart contract, is defined as our main entry point for the API, and that is compiled and is deployed on the virtual machine. And all these kind of stack layer combined together become our backend. Then you have the client library as a middleman, as a middleware between the front end and the backend. Yeah. Okay, so blockchain bring decentralization to the core system of the application. Get rid of the single source of truth. Yeah. Okay. And blockchain bring resilience. Get rid of the single point failure, but its application unstoppable. Because here, like we learned that like our blockchain is built on top of a P2P network and a complex distributed system. So we already solved the problem with DeFi in like at the beginning of the presentation about the single source of truth and also like single point failure. But how about the attribution unstoppable? Where it's coming from? So application relies on the RPC node to submit the data. So frontend just the information returned by the client libraries. The application view side is heavily affected by the side of the client library. So the client library is serves as a very important role in the blockchain application and also the app. And because we have our special guest today, instead of like trying like the app is a very huge topic that we cannot cover all. It's also related to the blockchain and also the smart contract. But now like in today's presentation, I mainly want to mention more about the client library because we have our special guest today who also an expert in building like the client library. Okay, so how is client library important to the DApp? And hello Thang, so are you there?
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly. Can you guys hear Thang? All right.
And see me well?
Okay, yeah, we can see you. So maybe first, just give a short introduction about yourself. We learned that like you coming from the BBA Wi-Fi graduate, right? So maybe like give a brief introduction about yourself and also like your daily life after the BBA. It's already been 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you, Dean. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to like OpenGuild and Dean to invite me into this community call as a guest, and also thank you Polkadot Insider and Anwen for co-hosting this call. So yeah, like most of my information is like professional, like related to blockchain, like in blockchain career, like have been like introduced by Tien before. So I was like based in Hanoi, Vietnam, and I was like getting into like blockchain and Bitcoin in like 2021, and since then I was like became interested in Polkadot and its technology and have been started to like contribute into like Polkadot's open source from 2022, and then yeah, happened to like join a few like for example DApp camps, Polkadot DApp camps, and then Polkadot Blockchain Academy, and and then I found some like during like the experience working with like Polkadots and blockchain, I have some discover some issues and things that I could like improve, and yeah, that's why I built like Dedot in order to like help application to efficiently like connect to applications to blockchain network under the hood. So yeah, we're gonna have a long talk, a short talk, I would say,
Okay,
after this. But I would say yeah.
thank you. That's an awesome introductions. We have a question right here, but I think like we're gonna come back to this question later after like, we already introduced about Dedot, because I think like there's many other things we should learn about Dedot first, because before like, we coming back to this slide and we answer the question, how is the client library important to the DApps? The reason why we want to focus on the client library in this presentation is like I think like most of the other blockchain workshop out there is mainly focused on the blockchain part and smart contract part. But like people, like developers, usually they don't understand like how important the client library to in their the app development process. So I think like it's great to have you here and to talk a bit about Dedot.
Yeah, can I start the whole thing now?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We should start here.
So I'm not sure if it's good for me to share the screen or like if you just
I
like
think it's better
like
for you to share the screen so that you have the full control flow.
yeah, I think I can share the screen. You guys see my screen? I think
Good.
I have it somewhere. And then let me find the slide. Can you guys see the slide?
Good.
Yeah. This is like a bit a long topic to talk about. We could have like a really long session to talk about like client library. But then in this like community call, I just want to like give a bit of an overview about the client library, so that you can have like a bit of how it works, and why is it that we need to have it here in the middle of the front end and the blockchain networks in the image that Tin have just showed in the screen. So if you like happen to like come from Ethereum or like any other like EVM network, you might happen to hear the word like Web3.js or like Ether.js or like VMs JS. That's like the client library. And in Polkadot ecosystem, we also have like similar thing to have the apps that build on Polkadot to connect to to connect to the Polkadot or like any kind of parachain network. So so technically, front end or application can connect to the network basically without the need of like a client library. But it is much more complicated. And it's just like if you want to build the app and you want to build a very complex app, for example, if you want to build like a Facebook app or like from scratch, and it's like it would be very complicated for you to build like without React or any other kind of like client library that help you to build those things. So like a client library in this case is similar, but it's like the its responsibility is to like facilitate the connection into interactions between the app and with the network. So let me go into so currently in Polkadot ecosystem we have like a few client library. So the first one is Polkadot.js. If you like happen to be in Polkadot, you might have heard of this one, Polkadot.js, and Dedot, that the project that I'm working on, and another one is Polkadot API. That's also another like alternative to Polkadot.js. So before talking about like Dedot on any other kind of like alternative solutions for like client I'm sorry, I just messed up with the client library. The client library. So Polkadot has been like in its very early days. So it's I think it's started in like 2019, and in the early day there's one like client library which called like Polkadot API, or like you could call it Polkadot.js. It's just like prominently like choose in the ecosystem to build the apps, and currently it suffer like from a lot of several limitations, and because it has built up over times, and this is some like historical reasons that have like it's make it really hard to change, and so we're gonna talk about its limitations, and we're gonna talk about like how DDot and other like client library like solve that problems. So firstly, Polkadot API has a very large bundle size. So what do we mean? The bundle size is like the build size of your applications. And if you happen to use like Polkadot.js, it has a very large bundle size. And for example, in the image that I'm showing you here, so this is like the size of a very simple DApp that has like just one like that simple like functions like connect to the network and then fetching a balance for an account. And it has like, as you can see, it has like nearly a megabyte of size. And even after like compressions, the size is still like 300 like and 43 kilobyte. And this is not taking into account your like other library like React or any other like UI client that UI like library that you want to put on your DApps. So it could take over like so although it would take over the whole thing after compression, it would take over like a megabyte or 2 megabytes. So for example, if some complex DApp in our ecosystem might take to like 4 megabyte of size, to load, and it take user a lot of time to load the UI. So why is it that it has a really large vendor side? Because it has like some dependency on the WASM blob, which is have some like crypto utilities there, and it's kind of like it doesn't have like an implementations using JS, and they have to use WASM, and also like for like speed. So WASM also like runs faster than native JS. So it depends on WASM, and also depends on like BNJS for handling bigins. And then a lot of default type definitions, which is like the definition to like encoding and decoding the information from the database. So we'll get that like in another day, but it's not a whole like a complex topic. But yeah, another issue is that it has a very high memory consumption, which is from its type system. It very efficiently like handle the type and encoding and decoding the data. It gets the whole like memory consumption while using the API is very, very high. So as you can see in the image here, we have like sub wallets, wallets. If you open like all of the connecting to like all of the substrate-based networks right now in the ecosystem, that's sub wallet has supported like, which I think is over hundreds, and it could take you like, and the memory could take up to like over a gigabyte of RAM. And it's like, I think it's a lot because like the attention is still there when you open the browser, and it's like just take up over a gigabyte of RAM of your device, and that is too much. So another like limitation is that it's have some kind of like, it's really limited in types and API suggestion for like I'm sorry, is it good now? Is it good to hear me?
Yeah, I think it's good now. Hi everyone, like for anyone like who just join the community call, if your mic is turned on, so please turn off. So yeah, thank you.
I happen to see Tin Chung message saying that my mic is mute, so I have to go back. Is it good to hear me? Yeah, I think I can continue. So let's talk about another like the last limitation, which is not the last of Polkadot.js, but last limitation that I want to talk about. It's like its limitation in types and API suggestions. So as you may know, like Polkadot is like a blockchain of blockchain, and this has a lot of blockchain around it, an ecosystem that has a lot of like blockchain that built upon Substrate framework, and Polkadot API also only support like types and API suggestion for Polkadot and Kusama. And it's make it very painful for developers to working on like new other like substrate-based chains, like parachains or any other solo chain that builds on Substrate. Like it's like if they have like any kind of custom palettes, custom logic or runtime API, it's really hard for them to know which kind of API to call and what kind of data to get back, and then inspect the data there. So it's really hard, and it's also make it really hard for like new developers to like go into the ecosystem, and they just find it's really hard, and it's to give up, and it so we have been in the ecosystem for years, and we've never seen like any like improvement in those like limitations, and that's why we decided to build Dedot. And in order to like address those limitations, we decided to build Dedot from ground up, and to address those issues. And Dedot offers a really small bundle size, and it has ability to be tree shakeable. If you're a front end guy, you might know this term, because like a library can have like a lot of components and functions, and tree shakeable means that you could like remove any other like function or component that you don't use in your DApp and just bundle in your DApp the things that you use, and it makes your like size of the application is small as possible. So for example, using the same application that I've showed you earlier that we take up to like a megabyte of size built using Polkadot API. If we build it using Dedot, it's only like 127 kilobyte, and after a compression, it's like 40 kilobytes, and that's a huge like improvement because it's like from my calculation, it's like 7 to 8 times smaller than the size of like the application that built on Polkadot API. And then secondly, it's less memory consumptions. So after like build DDot and with some high kind of like optimizations, kind of making a different decision in how we like handle like the types, we have like seen a significant improvement in how the client library and DDots like consume the memory. As you can see here, after the benchmarking, when we connect the client with like multiple endpoints to the networks, so the improvement is like DDoT, like it's like using like 4 to 5 times less memory consumption compared to Polkadot API. And then the next one is like Dedot support types and API suggestion for any substrate-based blockchain that you could think of. So if the blockchain that you are building using Substrate, and Dedot can like suggest all of the API and types that you can connect to and build on. So for example, in this image, we could build like application on like Osama, Moonbeam, Astar, even like some solo chain like Vara network or Alab Zero. You could like plug in the chain API, and then you can like the suggestions for API for that particular substrate-based blockchain is there for you. So you don't have to like jump around to see what's kind of like API that I need to call in order to interact with the chain. It's just there for you, and it's also come with documentations as well. And so that's cool. So Dedot also come with a lot more features, like it support light clients. The small like light client is like there's a light client in the Polkadot ecosystem now called like Smartdot. It is like a browser embedded light client. So instead of like you having to like connect to like RPC nodes, you can like connect to a light client, which is like a small client inside your like browser, and then you can connect to the network with that light client, and you get like the benefit of using a light client is that you can like you don't have to trust the RPC provider to like to feed you like the information. Like they can lie to you about the information, but yeah, for light client, if you use light client, you can verify the information there, and you can connect directly to the network. So and also another limitations of Polkadot API, which is like they don't have like contract type for an API suggestion for like in contracts API, which like Dedot is going to change that forever. So and also Dedot have a fully typed low level JSON RPC client, so which is an advanced features for any advanced user to connect directly to the JSON RPC server to talk to it without having to go through a lot of like bootstrapping process, like downloading the metadata from the network and then processing which kind of API and type that the client have to like expose to the user. So that is, and then Dedot offer a new type system, completely different to Polkadot API, and then some kind of optimization in the metadata. Metadata is like a different topic, and it's a really complex topic. Then we can like have it. We're gonna save it for another day. But that it's in the nutshell, it's going to help the DApps run faster and more efficiently. So Dedot is still in active development phase, and we expect a few more breaking changes before like we can stabilize it for productions. And the initial development phase was supported by Web3 Foundation grants program. And we have just like recently announced a Dedot on Polkadot forum and seeking for feedback and potentially asking for funding from the treasury to like fund the development of Dedot. And Dedot is ready for you to explore and experiment right now. The repository is like Dedot.dev / Dedot in on GitHub, and you can install it using npm or Dedot and getting started with the instruction and the documentation inside the repository. I think that's it for me to like have a high level discussions about DDot. What is it going to solve? And the limitation of to solve the limitation of Polkadot API in right now in the ecosystem, and then hope and then help address those issues, and then improve the developer experience of Polkadot ecosystem to another level to help like onboarding new users, new developers into the ecosystem. Yeah, I think that's just from me. If I think we can like take back. I'll hand it back to Tin or like Anwen for discussions. Is if we have any other like discussion too.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Tan. That's an awesome introduction about DDot. Learn a lot about it from this. I also like have some personal question, but to satisfy my curiosity first. You mentioned like Polkadot.js API, like when it's built to the bundle, it take around like up to like a megabyte just for like connect to wallet. And the reason behind it is like because it have a WebAssembly blob, right? So Dedot use native JavaScript and doesn't use WAMPs. But like you mentioned, like WebAssembly make the execution faster. Does that mean like Dedot is lower than Polkadot.js?
Yeah. The
Or
I mean, it's
yeah.
like it's yeah. I mean that we decide to like it's a trade-off that we have to choose whether or not we want the size of locations is bigger, or whether or not we want it the because like as far as like my research, the improvement in speed compared between like the native like JS implementation of a particularly functions compared between like native JS and WASM, it's not like day and night. It's like acceptable to use. So I made that trade-off. So I'm going to get rid of WASM and use JS implementations of the function. So we don't have to like a big bundle size of the applications, which is a nice thing. I think if you happen to choose which one to go, I think you could do yeah, it's fine. But in my opinion, I go with the route of like get rid of WASM.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, in software development, like there's no 100% correct or 100% like bad or 100% good, right? Like there's always trade-off, like in every aspect of like software development. And I agree that like as I mentioned, like Dedot, it's more like a lightweight version of like client library. Like if you want like lightweight approach, then you should come with like Dedot. If you want with like a better performance, not like better execution, then you should come with a Polkadot.js. But then you have to make a trade-off to make a a larger bundle size, right?
Yeah, because like I mean, it's not like I mean in terms of so in terms of speed, I haven't made any like comparisons between like how fast it is and how like slow it is compared to like for particular functions. I haven't made, but I can made and I can make comparisons. But yeah, if it's not like the speed of using like query balance from the network like using DDot and Polkadot API is like 10 times faster and like 5 times faster. It's not like that. I don't think it's that crazy number. But if you prefer to have a better developer experience, we prefer to have like a good starting. If you're a newbie, you want to like go into like to have it to take it easy and to have everything available for you to interact with a substrate-based blockchain. It's Dedot for you to choose.
Gotcha. Right. There's another question from Leo. So just add chain type if you want to connect to a new substrate network. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The chain type is just a types, just like if you know like TypeScript, it's just like an interface types that describe all the API and types that you can if you that the runtime of that substrate-based network exposed to you to interact with. So that is the instructions that allow you to interact with that runtime or like with that substrate-based network. So you could use it. It's only available in your development time, and after you compile it, it go away. So so you have we have like a package named Dedot/chain types that expose a few well-known network. So you can just like install it and just plug in the chain types. For example, you Polkadot API or Kusama API or Asta API. You just plug in the type there, and it's just like available. But if you happen to work with like a custom blockchain, for example, if you work with a custom substrate node that doesn't have support in the chains type, so you can like have an option to generate the type directly using the CLI that Dedot provide, so that you can just type the CLI and it's going to generate the type for you and you can use it.
Okay. Yeah, I think like one of the very interesting feature of Dedot when I talked with Thang before is that like when you use like Polkadot.js API, like there's no way that you can, let's say like if your runtime like in some kind of palette, there's no way that you can get the API of the palette on the front end, and that's a very painful experience. I think like with Dedot, like it's already that like Thang also like make an effort like to try to implement that feature. Cool.
Yeah,
I
that's
also
a big barrier. Yeah, I mean, I would just want to add on top of Tim's points is that it's a big barrier for new developer. They just like hit that and then to go back because it's too hard to explore more. Yeah.
right. I have another questions about the bundle size. So like from what you showed us is about like the bundle size of, we compare the bundle size of like connect to wallet, right? Connect to just connect to wallet, you then compare and then compare it like to the bundle size of the Polkadot.js API and Dedot, and then we see like a huge difference. But I'm curious, like let's say if you implement more feature, not like implement more feature to your application and use Dedot, does the size like keep constantly different, or there's any like changes like in the size, So like if I implement something more complex, like I have all kind like event subscriber and then like palette API calls kind of thing, not just like connect to wallet. Does it like it keep like constantly different like that?
Yeah, I see what you mean because it's kind of hard to say because like the example that I showed you, it's just like a really simple example of like just like connect to the network and then fetching the balance. Because in the real application, we have like a lot more use cases like business logics to do, and it's really like hard to like predict because we have like React on top of it, like a Chaka UI things on top of it. It's really hard to predict, but in terms of the client the library like client, it's like it's just stay reasonable. It's not ridiculous like Polkadot API because we like optimize it in the first place to be trackable. If you use like Smartdot, it's going to use like only the providers to Smartdot, and it's going to like throw away other things regarding to like WebSocket things and because like if you use like WebSocket, it's going to not include the things about like Smartdots and like client. And if you want to use like, for example, if you happen to use like Metadata 14 and want to like run some kind of runtime API, and you have to include some kind of definition in order for you to like call the runtime API, and that's make your bundle size like a bit bigger. But overall, our like optimizations that makes us that makes the size really small. So you don't have to worry about like it's whether or not it's really like ridiculous like Polkadot.js, because like we get rid of all of those like pitfall and things that Polkadot.js like have been to fall into.
I gotcha. Also like I think like one thing that like community member here they're really interested in watching is about like, do you have a demo? Like you have a demo like any application that already like try to use Dedot on the front end?
Yes.
So it would be best.
Yeah,
Like,
I
if
think I
you-
do have one. Yeah, I can share the screen if you want. It's just like
Yeah,
a really that simple, like it's just to transfer the applications and things, transfer the balance and things you're using. Let me show it to you. Right, it's here. I'm sending the link in the
Okay.
chat, and you could go there and then explore, and everything is using the Dedot under the hood in order to fetch the balance, and then you can transfer some kind of token there, and you can also like you can also use that in your mobile, because we integrate Kong wallets. So the Kong wallet is basically something that you can't use basically it's allow you to like connect to the wallets inside your browser, whether or not you are on desktop or mobile app browser. It's just in your browser, so you don't have to like install an extensions or install mobile application to connect to your wallets.
Yeah, you have a very good demo site. Love it. Right. So I think that now we should go back to the slide. The one that the question that we raised like 30 minutes ago. How the DApp can you help me to share the slide? Because you already set the screen. I can share the screen. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can start again.
Can you I think you're sharing your screen right now, so can you turn it off?
This one.
Yeah.
So to talk about the important about like client and library, it's like, as I have like an example earlier. So if you want to build a complex applications like Facebook or like any, like, you have to have some kind of framework or things that help you do all the things that is like you're going to do again and again in and for example, if you can use React in order to build your UI. So in this example, in order to connect from your front end, so technically you uh, can connect directly to the blockchain network using and not using any kind of like client library, and and I can say to you it's really complicated, and because like we have lots of like abstractions layer on top of each other in order to make the things easier for developer to use in order to interact with the network. For example, if you want to fetch a storage, interact with a pallet, interact with like sending of transaction. It's not the transaction only, not only have like kind of sending the transaction. It also like making a vote to the OpenGuild, like approve a multi-sig like approval or something like that. It's had a lot of like custom logic inside the palette in the runtime. So the client library is there to abstract away all of the complexities for you. So you only need to like focus on your business logics of your applications without having to worry about like how do I get the access to the storage and then get the data so the data is not like raw, like it's not like it's not raw like JSON. It's like bytecode, and you have to know how to decode it. Because like blockchain is designed to be space efficient. It's not going to store JSON there for you to like just get it and then like render it in your client, because it have to be like space efficient, and it's have to like this to make it so that the amount of data stepping into the blockchain is like smallest as possible. So, for example, if you want to like if you so the data for uh a balance, it's really compact. It's going to be set in a really compact form, so that when you get back, it's not going to be like, for example, you have like 100 token inside like 100 dot in Polkadot. It's not going to get you back like 100, but it's going to like to return you an array of bytes, and you need to know how to decode it based on the information and the metadata that the runtime provides. So it's really complex. That's a really like long topic if you want to talk about it. But yeah, so I can, if you want to like, so the light client library is there for you to abstract away all the complexities of connecting to a blockchain. And you, as a front-end developer, a UI, a DApp developer, you only have to focus on your business logics and like how to like, um, for example, if you want to make an NFT platform, you only need to focus on the logic of the NFT platform, and don't have to worry about things like how to connect and then get back and encode and decode the data. Yeah, that's basically the thing. I hope it's
Awesome.
like it's clear enough for you to understand.
Yeah. I think it's quite clear. Also, the another thing is about the attribute unstoppable. What do you think about it? Because like we mentioned that, and Ansel mentioned that, like client gonna be the last like the last element in the stack, the DApp stack for the unstoppable attribute. And what do you think about it? Because I think like from when we study in PPA, we study about like client, right? And Dedot somehow is also like Dedot also support like client. I think like client also it's gonna be the future, not like the future, but it's gonna be the standard for query the data on the blockchain in maybe like in the couple of months or a couple of years, and we no longer like use RPC or something if the live client is well mature. So what do you think about the live client and how did that gonna help in this context? Yeah.
I mean, what is the real question? You were talking about like unstoppable, and then you're talking about the light client. It's like two like different topic, and then what do you want me to discuss about?
My question is like, did that support like and
Uh-huh.
from what I learned, like client provide the unstoppable capabilities to to the decentralized application. So what do you think
Yes.
about it? What's your point of view on it? Because you
Yeah.
do support, you does have the vision for it as well.
Yeah. I mean, like, um, another like attribute that light client offer on top of the things that you've just mentioned, like it's like there's no one to stop you from connecting to the network, even if you are at anywhere in the world. So another like attribute is that the data you access, you can verify it. So you can access the data. It is trustless. So for example, if you connect to a RPC node, it could lie to you about your balance or your information. But if you connect to the network via light client, you can actually verify the data there in order to make sure that yes, if the data is coming back from light client, I can trust it because the light client is already verified that the data is there, it is correct, and that is another like attribute that you want to that light client is offered. So so people often like, so it depends on the applications or the business logics that that you want to build, you may want to use like client, or you want to use RPC node. It's completely like up to you. But for me, about the unstoppable, I have like a very like a not really like I mean, there's nothing is unstoppable, right? Because like as you can see in the image that we've shared, we have a lot of layer on top of other. Like we have front end application, we have like the client library, we have the smart contract, we have the blockchain layer, we have the nodes all over the place, and everything in that stack could go wrong, and it could make the application stoppable. For example, if the DNS server, if you have a domain name service, and if it is banned you from access the domain, the application is stopped. For example, if the client has some bug, or the React library you have has some bug and it's like triggering some like error, it stopped, or like the node that you are connecting to it is stopped, or something like that. It's like really long way for us to go to the unstoppable thing, but it's like a really nice thing to talk about when we are like going toward the Web3 future, where the things that we are, there's nothing that can stop us to access the network. For example, if you happen to be in the like somewhere that is like banned by the US, for example, you cannot access the for example MetaMask. They banned some user from another country, that those user from those country that cannot access MetaMask or cannot access MetaMask. So the unstoppable thing is that you can actually like have another way to access it, or like using the light client to access the network, so no one can stop you, and the application is still there for you to use. Yeah, I think it's the theme is there. So, but yeah, that's my point of view about the unstoppable.
Thank you. I think like we yeah, that's awesome. I think like in the past hour we already mentioned a lot about the technical topics and technical knowledge, and I think I learned, even myself, I learned a lot from your talk. I have a few just quick question about Dedot. So you mentioned like Dedot got the Web2 Foundation brand, right? And I'm curious, like, how did you find the problems? I mean, right? Like, what's the kind of motivation that give you that you have, to build the solution for the ecosystem? Like, how did you find the problem in the Polkadot.js API? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a long story. And to me, to start with, I was figuring out about the problem when using the sub wallet, because like sub wallet is a multi-chain wallet for the Polkadot ecosystem, and it has a lot of like support for like substrate-based network, and at the same time, it has like, in order for it to render and fetching the token for like a lot of like, for example, if you have token on like Asta or Polkadot or things, it has to have to connect to those network in order to like showing the token that you have in that connect in that network. And in the early day of subwallet, it was trying to connect to all of the network that it is supported. And when I using it, and I was curious, and I've opened the task manager, and I saw the memory that it spice up, because like as they support more network, and because like they automatically like connect to like all of the network. It's make me so if you are a user, you don't want to like something that is like hidden inside your browser and it like take up a lot of your memory. So that's not a very good experience. And we have a discussion with Subwallet, and they come up with some solution to like actively like allowing a user to turn on to turn off the network, so that it's efficiently address the issues, and also like allowing the memory consumption to be lower. So I thought that is like in a multi-chain future where we can like have access to like in a lot of like networks. So maybe we can have like, so in the future where we have like 1,000 parachain or something like that. It's really we might get into the issue again, because like there are lots of there will be something that inside the browser that take up a lot of memory. So that is something that I want to solve. And also in my experience working with Polkadot and Polkadot.js API, and as I building like a few things, and while I was learning Substrate and I was learning about Polkadot, and I was like find it really hard to start with, like about like how do I like have some kind of, as a new developer, I want to have some kind of suggestion to suggest me out how can I like call this, how can I call that, and the suggestion and the IntelliSense is really helpful for me to like explore around. So how can I do this? How can I do that? I can explore, but it's really hard in Polkadot.js. So that is another issue. So 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 as I'm observing the ecosystem for a few years, like I mean, like it's not like 10 years or so. It's like 1 or 2 years, and I haven't seen any like effort in addressing that issues. And that's why I set out missions for me to like to solve that. That's why they built Dedot and to improve the product ecosystem, to improve the developer experience for Polkadot.
Oh, cool. That's a very inspirational story. That raise that you find the problem and then you solve it right away. Also, like how long does it take you for the development of DDot and yeah, how long does it take you?
Yeah, that's another like long story because like
Yeah, long story short, how long?
talking to, yeah, long story short, yeah, like in order to get to the proposal, I have like a month of researching and learning around, see how it works under the hood, looking in the source code of Polkadot API, see how it works under the hood, see how the methods work, see how Substrate runtime works, and then come up with a proof concept that is like proof properly, like efficiently, and it works, so that I could show it to the committee of the foundation, so that they can see it. Yeah, it's worked in that way, and it takes me like more than a month in order to like research and another like weeks in order to like come up with a proposal, and with a lot of like benchmarking and then profiling in order to find the root cause of the memory consumption issues, and the and how to solve the API suggestion issues. That's a lot of like, so that's why it took in order to like to build this from ground up. It's like I think it's like it takes like months and years. It's not like a few weeks or so. So yeah.
Wow, you're very dedicated with the ecosystem, to be honest. And so I have we have an interesting question here for you, and I think there's also like a wrap up questions for our community code today as well from Beneficence, who is also like one of our lunch mate, our friends, PPA as well. So your question is like, do you think there are some team that you can reach to and show them how your library can benefit them from? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm there's any kind of like, I think there's lots of like, because like the application is like the very essential and crucial to the ecosystem. So any kind of like team that are building the apps on Polkadot, I can reach out to them to introduce Dedot. For example, the wallets. Like for example, we have like a few wallets, good wallets in the ecosystem right now, and they could use it. They could use Dedot and some kind of ink developer. So because like Dedot also support like typed API for ink contract. So for any kind of like applications that build on like ink smart contract, they could use Dedot as well. So there's a lot of teams and uh, applications that can benefit from Dedot.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. I think that's also like a wrap up for our community call today. And personally, I think like Dedot is very dedicated and has a lot of potential that should become a mainstream, and also that should become a standardized like a library for the Web3 ecosystem, or like I said, like Polkadot ecosystem. And like if you guys are like the community member, I think you should like support Dedot, give Dedot your support. Because I think like Dedot is one of like the very potential project in C, and yeah, also like thank you Thang, and thank you Polkadot Insider for help us to host this community call, and to help the member to learn more about the workflow of the app. And yeah, thank you, and see you soon in the upcoming community call. And I hope hope you have an interesting journey on the DDot development. And we would love
Thank you.
to hear more story from you during your journey with DDot. And yeah, thank you, and thank you everyone. Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. It was a good talk today.
Bye everyone.